Hello, everybody, and welcome to your weekly overview. It's hard to believe that September has come to an end. It's gone quickly. These first 5 weeks have gone quickly. We are 1/3 of the way through the semester, so we are reaching the crest, and then it's going to be a speedy last 5 weeks. So here we are. We are in week 6, and this week we are focusing on evaluating a variety of sources, right? We have scholarly and popular sources, so you'll be learning what the criteria is that comprise credible sources this week. We will also be working on things dealing with the UC Library online databases to help you locate your sources for research. So this week's assignment, I'm asking you to locate 2 potential sources, and I think I'm going to do a separate video that explains that assignment a little bit better, just because it can be somewhat confusing for some students. So locate 2 potential sources that you think you will be using in your research, and I want you to complete a source evaluation worksheet for each of those sources to decide if your chosen sources are suitable for your research argument essay. I've included a link to Citation Machine, which is a citation generator that can also help you with citations. One of the readings this week deals with avoiding plagiarism, and this is something that I probably should have introduced early on in the semester, but now that we're working with sources, it becomes really, really vital that you understand the various instances of plagiarism prior to embarking on your research. So you're going to participate in a discussion to help demonstrate your understanding of this topic. There will also be a quiz on this week's reading on evaluating sources. So let's take a look at those readings. So in Allen and Bacon, we have what the first reading is on evaluating sources. I will open that up for you. And essentially, it just goes through the various types of sources there are, reading your sources rhetorically, what kind of questions you can ask yourself to help read rhetorically or think critically about your sources. Taking purposeful notes is also another helpful strategy. Remember, when you're taking notes, to write down the information, where it's coming from, what each source is about, explanatory notes, so on and so forth. In the next reading, there's actually a very helpful chart to make sure that you aren't accidentally plagiarizing when you are doing your research. So these charts I find to be very helpful, since they kind of summarize the information that is provided in the paragraphs in a more easily accessible form. Evaluate sources for credibility, reliability, angle of vision, the degree of advocacy, so on and so forth. So this is kind of relating to what we call a CRAAP test. And I'll talk about that in a minute once we hop on over to the Canvas page that I've created for you. Again, this is a long reading, so you can just kind of hit the highlights. You don't have to read it word for word unless you feel like you need every single word. There's criteria for evaluating websites, again, dealing with authority, so on and so forth, currency, kind of that CRAAP test evaluation tool as well. And I think you can probably skip the last few pages or just kind of glance at them if you want to. Then the second reading is avoid plagiarism. So this one is super important. I want you to read as closely as possible. Why some kinds of plagiarism may occur unwittingly, right? We call this accidental plagiarism. Sometimes students just don't know any better. They're not trying to cheat. They're not trying to pull one over on their professor. They just might not know any better. So this is the table that this is not the table. This is the table, the strategies chart 23.3, right? Strategies for avoiding plagiarism or the appearance of plagiarism. So it has it broken down to what to do, why to do it, and where to find the information. These are referring to the various chapters, and I should have that up somewhere. So they have like what you do at the beginning during the note-taking stage, making sure you copy a passage into your notes, copying it word for word, and enclose it within quotation marks. That way you know it's a direct quotation, and it helps you to then, when you're incorporating it within your research, to distinguish from the source's words from your own words, right? So it's very important when you are in that research phase, when you're taking notes on sources, to make sure to indicate that it's a direct quote when you're using a direct quote. And then what you would do during the drafting process, right? Okay, so that's a shorter reading, the shorter of the two. Then we have actually a research guide for English 1001 that is made by all three of the UC libraries. So we have searching for sources. This is where the summon basics comes in. There's a short video that explains how to use summon. There's also a search bar for summon. That is one of the tools you can use to search for information within the UC library system, identifying types of sources. Again, a short video. I encourage you to watch these videos and read through the information. And then lastly, we have reading and evaluating sources. Again, you want to watch this short video. I may have all these videos linked in the video section as well. And they also have the evaluating sources worksheet that we will be using in this week's assignment. Reading scholarly journal articles. Scholarly journals or academic articles are very different from news and magazine sources, and they can be difficult to get through, not only because they're very lengthy, they're usually about 20 pages long, if not longer, have several authors. So the Anatomy of a Scholarly Article video, which is linked here, is a good thing to watch. It provides some strategies for reading those scholarly academic journal articles, as well as some handouts that can help you as well. So make sure to take a look at that information as well. Then we have, does your source pass the CRAAP test? So I made this into a Canvas page instead of providing you with yet another PDF. However, if you want it as a PDF, you can download it from this website. This is where I got the information. It is Creative Commons, so I'm not plagiarizing, but it takes you through the various criteria for the CRAAP test. So CRAAP stands for currency, relevance, authority, accuracy, and purpose. And then there are a list of questions under each of those categories that will help you when you are evaluating your sources. So please make sure that you take a look at this. And the reason for that is because you have a CRAAP test quiz that's due on Sunday, October 16th. So that directly relates to one of your assignments. The discussion board on plagiarism is also related to the plagiarism reading, so please make sure that you read this. And of course, the source evaluation worksheet is related to the evaluating sources reading. So all three of this week's assignments are related to the readings, so please make sure that you take a look at the readings. We also have some lectures and some media. So the first is the UC Library Resources. This is a lecture that I presented for a different section, probably about, it may have been for a summer class, I can't remember. So this is kind of recycling of information. It will refer to week 11. It may refer to different assignments, but essentially some of the information that I provide on the library resources is important information. So if you're curious and you want to know more, take a look at that video. Again, we have evaluating sources for credibility, which was one of the videos in the UC Library English 1001 Research Guide, as well as Academic Search Complete Basics and Summon Basics. And then I also have a video on how to use Citation Machine. It's using a citation generator, but it is specific to Citation Machine. So if you are not familiar with Citation Machine, this is a really helpful tool, and I have a link for it down below in the optional materials. I will click on it. You want to make sure that it's the MLA citation generator, and then you can select, you know, whether it's a website, a book, so on and so forth. Click on the various things, right? You click on it. If it's a website, you put in your URL and you click on search. The video that I've done takes you through the whole process. But it's wonderful because it generates a citation for you. The citations aren't always 100% correct, so you may have to go in and do a little bit of editing, but generally it has most of the information that you need for a correct MLA citation. And then you can either copy and paste it into your works cited page, or if you want to put everything into Citation Machine and have it create a works cited page for you, you can do that, and then you can export that works cited page and download it to your own files. So it's a really fantastic tool, and I encourage you to familiarize yourself with it because it can be really helpful, especially if you are doing writing for other classes that might have a different type of citation style. So I will take you back here again. If you click up citation guides, maybe. Yes. So if you need a different type of citation, say you have to write a paper for a psychology class or a sociology class, and your professor wants you to use APA citation, or maybe you're working in some other class and you need Chicago style, or maybe you're in the health sciences and you need to use AMA, which is the American Medical Association. You can have a generator for any of those different citation styles. Sorry. So it's a really great tool to know how to use. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. I'm not going to go through the other optional materials. However, make sure you take a look at the videos, make sure you do the readings, and we'll take a look at the checklist. So the short writing is the source evaluation worksheet. I'm going to do a separate video on this, so I'm not going to do all of the explaining here because I think sometimes it's difficult for students to read through and find the information that they need. So I'm going to record a short video for that, but you can access the document that you need to download here at the bottom of the page, and that is worth 10 points. So it'll be 5 points for each source that you evaluate. Remember, you are evaluating 2 sources. Then the second assignment is that CRAAP Test quiz. The following quiz will test your knowledge of the CRAAP test from the assigned reading on the Canvas page. Does your source pass the CRAAP test? Each question is worth 1 point. There are 10 questions and you have 3 attempts to take the quiz. Your final score will be your highest result. And then the last one is the discussion board on plagiarism. Again, as with all of our discussion boards, your initial response, your initial post is due on Sunday, the 6th. And then you should respond to 2 peers by Wednesday, the 9th. So this is actually taken, I believe, from the course text. Yeah, it's taken from the course text. So it asks you to do a reading, and then you are going to examine the student writing example and answer the following questions. How does this passage cross the line into plagiarism? The writer of this passage might say, how can this be plagiarism? I cited my source. How would you explain the problem to this writer? And then psychologically or cognitively, what may have caused the writer to misuse the source, right? Could be that they didn't know any better, or they could be that they didn't really know the rules, or they were confused about how to paraphrase versus how to quote correctly, whatever the problem is, right? How might this writer's note-taking process or composing process have differed from another writer? In other words, what do you think happened to get this writer into trouble. So again, this points back to the assigned readings. It's really important that you do the readings and that you understand the nuances in plagiarism, right? Whether it's intentional or not. I used to have students go through and do a plagiarism quiz, but I thought maybe a discussion board would be a little bit better to get you really thinking a little bit more deeply about plagiarism. So if you have any questions, again, the assignments are due Sunday, October 16th, with the peer response for the discussion board due the following Wednesday, the 9th. You should be starting to get an idea of what you want to write about for your research. So we're working on getting some sources and thinking about them critically. If you have any questions, you know how to get in touch with me. Take care and have a fantastic week, everybody. Bye-bye.